One of England's most impressive natural landscapes is that of the Great Wind Sill. And this is a large dark rock mass which travels hundreds of kilometres inland from the Northumbrian coast to places like here, where it's the site of Hadrian's Wall. But to fully understand this dark black rock mass, we need to go back millions and millions of years to a tale of volcanoes and tropical rainforests, to a time when magma was pushing through the Earth's crust. But also back to Roman times, when it acted as a natural barrier to attacks from the north, and to the present day, where it forms this fantastic landscape that we can see all around us, something which is geologically unique to the northeast.
An experienced mountaineer who lectures in earth sciences at Durham told me that attempting the climb alone might have contributed to Mr. Sharp's difficulties.
In principle, by going alone, as it were, you would still be in contact quite often with many other climbers. The only problems where that could become a little bit more of an issue is in situations where you start to show signs of hypothermia or lack of oxygen, because quite often many of those signs are not apparent to yourself but are much clearer to other people around you.
After a grueling 8 days journey and travelling half the globe, we eventually land at Bull Pass Camp, Antarctica. Hi there. Well, it's Friday the 14th of January. We finally made it to Bull Pass. It's pretty tricky to keep the grin off your face in such a lovely place. Let me just explain. Come and have a look at the view outside our tent. Come this way. Just come. Look at the view. Look. It's fantastic. Look around. Look. I'm grinning. I'm still grinning. I'm still grinning. The Jaguar E-Type, the classic iconic British sports car. And in 1966, Jaguar introduced the E-Type 2+2. Now this was the one the Americans really loved. It still had that classic long bonnet that would stretch over 2 time zones. And inside, as many dials, it made you feel like you were a fighter pilot. And today, in 2006, 40 years on, I'm going to take it for a test drive. Of course, one of the problems about doing the geology in the British Isles is the weather. Often raining, inclement, unpleasant to be out in. But just getting out of the house and being in the outdoor wilderness can throw up its own surprises. If you look just behind me, you'll see that there's a colony of grey seals. Now they've been watching me all day on the outcrops here. And they don't know it yet, but they're sat on some rocks that formed about 60 million years ago. Worst thing, expedition food. Dried bachelor's beef curry. I tell you, if you've got a friend that you're not getting on with and you want them out, invite them round and get one of these bachelor's beef curries on the go. It'll be out the door like the clappers. The molten lava has temperatures in excess of 1,100 degrees centigrade. Yet with the help of some asbestos gloves, I managed to get a sample on my hammer. This is the youngest rock on Earth.
Reached the extreme camera.
Well, something I had to be done. I feel shit now. No, I don't. I feel great. In one! Oh.
Right, well, I'm hanging over the edge here of one of these big cliff scarps in the Great Wind Sill. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to systematically go down through the rocks here, look at the rock textures and try and look for some key features that will help me understand whether this rock came in as all one big thick mass and cooled and solidified, or whether it came in as a series of pulses. And also whether there's anything in the rock that will tell me whether it was at a shallow depth or at quite deep into the Earth's crust when it came in. I mean, it's not quite the edge of Erta Alla volcano, but believe you me, it's damn steep. Well, I've abseiled down about 6 meters from the top of this cliff face, and the first thing I can see is that we've got these massive columns in the cliff face. Let me just move round. I'm standing on one at the moment. What you can see is there are these large columns, and they run all the way from the bottom of the outcrop all the way up the cliff face to the top. Now these are what we call cooling joints, and they happen when the magma, the hot magma, gets into the cold rock and cools and contracts. Now because these cooling joints, I can see them travelling all the way up through the rock unit, and they're the same thickness all the way through, That suggests to me that this whole magma body came in one unit, cooled and solidified. Also, if we get right up to the rock textures and have a good look, what's really interesting is I can see little holes, little bubbles, almost like the texture of an aerobar. And what these little holes probably were are gases that are starting to come out of the magma. Now when we get gases coming out of the magma, it tells us that we must be very, very near the surface. In fact, indeed, we may well have been very, very close to the roots of the original volcano for this magmatic plumbing system. Fantastic. Why did I become a volcanologist? I guess my sort of early memories as a child watching films like Journey to the Centre of the Earth, where they had a big rocket-powered drilling into a big volcano in Iceland is one sort of memory of volcanoes when I was a child. The other one, I guess, is the old film Krakatoa, where they just about survived the big tidal wave in the boat. I decided to take it up at university, and at university, again, another person inspired me, a volcanologist there, to sort of go the way of igneous rocks, and I've not regretted it, and I've been looking at volcanoes ever since.